What if the one thing holding you back from real clarity isn't a lack of motivation or discipline, but the simple fact that you're giving too much of yourself away? Every day you speak when silence would serve you better. You react when you should retreat inward. You scatter your attention across 100 things that don't matter, while the one thing that could change everything sits quietly in the corner, waiting for you to notice it. The ancient Stoics knew this secret. They practiced it relentlessly, and it wasn't flashy, it wasn't complicated, but it quietly separated those who drifted through life from those who led it with unshakable clarity. Today, you're going to discover the habit that changes everything. It's not what you think, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you practice it, everything shifts faster than you ever imagined. If you're done letting the world pull you in every direction, drop "no more distractions" below the comments right now. Let's begin. Let's be honest about where you are right now. You wake up, and before your feet hit the floor, you're already reaching for your phone. Messages, notifications, news, someone's opinion about something that doesn't concern you, another crisis you can't control, another voice demanding your attention. You scroll, you react, you absorb, and without realizing it, you've already given away the first hour of your day to forces outside yourself. At work, you're constantly interrupted. A meeting that could have been an email, a colleague venting about office politics, a notification pinging every few minutes, pulling you out of focus, fragmenting your thoughts. You try to get things done, but you're always playing catch-up. You're busy but not productive, moving but not forward. And then there's the talking. You talk about your plans before you've taken the first step. You share your struggles with people who don't have solutions. You defend yourself to critics who will never be satisfied. You explain, justify, announce, and broadcast your every move, seeking validation, seeking approval, seeking something outside yourself to tell you that you're on the right path. But here's the brutal truth. Every word you speak prematurely leaks energy. Every explanation you offer to someone who doesn't need to hear it drains your momentum. Every time you check what others think before you check what you think, you hand over your power. You're living in a state of constant reaction. You're not directing your life, you're responding to it. And somewhere deep down, you know it. You feel the scatter. You sense the drift. You recognize that despite all your effort, you're not moving with the clarity and control you once imagined for yourself. The Stoics had a word for this. They called it living outside yourself. It's the condition of allowing external events, other people's opinions, and the noise of the world to dictate your internal state. It's the opposite of sovereignty. It's the opposite of freedom. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But he wasn't writing that because he had it all figured out. He was reminding himself, because even emperors fall into the trap of reacting, of seeking external validation, of forgetting where true power lies. Most people never escape this. They spend their entire lives in reactive mode. They let the world set the agenda. They speak too much and think too little. They seek approval from crowds who will forget them by tomorrow. They chase goals they don't even want because someone else told them those goals mattered. And here's what hurts the most. They're capable of so much more. They have the intelligence, they have the potential, they have the time, but they never focus it, they never harness it, they never turn the spotlight inward and ask the only question that matters. What do I want? What do I control? What can I do right now? Instead they talk, they announce, they react, they scatter. And the years slip by. You don't want that. If you're still reading this, still listening, it's because something inside you is ready for a different way. You're tired of the noise. You're exhausted by the performance. You're done giving your energy to things that don't serve your growth. You want your time back. You want your focus back. You want yourself back. And the good news is this. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You just need to understand one thing. The habit that changes everything isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It doesn't require you to announce it to the world or post about it or convince anyone else to join you. It's the opposite. It's quiet. It's internal. It's invisible to everyone but you. And it starts the moment you make a single decision: to focus on yourself and stay silent. So what does this habit actually look like? Let's break it down because it's simpler than you think, but not easier. Focusing on yourself means redirecting your attention to the only things you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your responses, your effort, not the outcome, not what others think, not the economy, the algorithm, the competition, or the critics, just you. Staying silent means resisting the urge to speak prematurely, to announce your intentions, to seek validation, or to react impulsively. It means learning to hold your energy inside until the right moment, until you've actually done the work, until speaking serves a purpose beyond ego. This is not about becoming a recluse. It's not about refusing to communicate or collaborate. It's about being strategic with your words and ruthless with your attention. The Stoics practiced this relentlessly. Epictetus, who was once a slave, taught his students, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He wasn't preaching theory. He lived it. He didn't complain about his chains. He didn't broadcast his suffering. He focused on what he could control, his mind, and he stayed silent about everything else. Seneca, advisor to emperors, wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." In other words, when something triggers you, when someone insults you, when chaos erupts around you, pause, stay silent. Let the moment pass through you instead of reacting from it. That pause, that silence is where your power lives. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire at war, constantly reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. Stop replaying the past. Stop worrying about the future. Stop imagining what others are thinking. Just focus on the present moment and the one thing you can do right now. This is the practice. And it's hard because everything in our modern world pulls you in the opposite direction. Social media rewards you for speaking constantly, for announcing every thought, for performing your life in public. The culture glorifies busyness, multitasking, and availability. You're expected to respond immediately, to always be on, to never miss a notification. But here's what no one tells you. Every time you react immediately, you weaken your ability to respond thoughtfully. Every time you speak prematurely, you dilute your intentions. Every time you seek external validation before internal clarity, you train yourself to depend on others for your sense of worth. The habit of focusing on yourself and staying silent is the antidote to all of that. It looks like this in practice. You wake up and instead of reaching for your phone, you sit for 5 minutes in silence. No input, no output. Just you and your thoughts. You ask yourself, what matters most today? What can I control? What's one thing I can move forward? At work, when someone criticizes your idea, you don't defend immediately. You pause. You consider whether the criticism has merit. If it does, you integrate it. If it doesn't, you let it go. Either way, you don't waste energy justifying yourself to someone who doesn't need to understand. When you're tempted to announce your new project, your new goal, your new habit on social media, you resist. You stay silent. You let the work speak for itself. You build in private. You know that premature announcement diffuses the energy you need to actually execute. When chaos erupts around you, bad news, drama, conflict, you don't react. You observe, you breathe, you remind yourself, this is outside my control. What is within my control? And you focus only on that. This is not passivity, this is power. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say." He wasn't being poetic. He was giving you a ratio. Listen twice as much as you speak. Observe twice as much as you react. Absorb twice as much as you broadcast. Why? Because silence creates space. Space for clarity, space for insight, space for strategy. When you're constantly talking, you're not thinking. When you're constantly reacting, you're not observing. When you're constantly seeking validation, you're not building. But when you focus on yourself and stay silent, something remarkable happens. You start to notice patterns you couldn't see before. You hear the signal beneath the noise. You recognize what actually matters versus what merely demands attention. You become aware of your own habits, your own thoughts, your own blind spots. And from that awareness you can finally act with precision. You stop wasting time on things that don't move the needle. You stop engaging with people who drain your energy. You stop defending positions that don't need defending. You stop announcing plans that aren't ready to be announced. You simplify, you focus, you execute. And here's the paradox. The less you speak, the more weight your words carry. The less you react, the more intentional your actions become. The less you seek validation, the more confident you feel. The world respects silence. It respects restraint. It respects people who don't need to explain themselves, who don't need to perform, who don't need constant affirmation. But more importantly, you respect yourself. Because you know you're living according to your own standards, not the world's. You're moving in the direction you chose, not the direction the crowd is drifting. This is the essence of Stoic discipline. It's not about deprivation. It's about direction. It's about saying no to the trivial so you can say yes to the essential. Epictetus taught, first learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. In other words, think before you speak. Reflect before you react. Know yourself before you try to explain yourself to others. This habit, focusing on yourself and staying silent, is the foundation of everything else. It's the root of discipline, clarity, and control. Without it, you're constantly buffeted by external forces. With it, you become unshakable. But I won't lie to you, it's uncomfortable at first. You'll feel the urge to speak, to react, to share, to explain, to defend, to announce. Those urges are strong because they're deeply wired into your social conditioning. But every time you resist that urge, you build strength. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you reclaim a piece of your power. Every time you focus inward instead of outward, you sharpen your ability to direct your own life. And over time, it stops being a struggle. It becomes your default. It becomes who you are. You become someone who doesn't need to announce their plans because they're too busy executing them. Someone who doesn't need to defend their choices because they're confident in them. Someone who doesn't need constant validation because they validate themselves through action. This is what the Stoics meant by living with virtue, not moral superiority, but alignment. Your actions match your values. Your words match your intentions. Your life matches your vision. And it all starts with this one habit. So what happens when you commit to this habit? What does life look like on the other side? Let me paint the picture. You wake up with clarity. You know exactly what matters today because you've spent time thinking about it instead of reacting to it. You're not scattered. You're not anxious. You're centered. Your mornings are yours. No one else's agenda. No bombardment of information. Just you, your thoughts, and your plan. You move through your routine with intention, not urgency. At work, you're no longer pulled in 10 directions. You've learned to say no. You've learned to prioritize. You've learned that being busy isn't the same as being effective. So you focus on the few things that matter, and you execute them with precision. When distractions arise, and they will, you don't get derailed. You pause. You assess. You decide whether it's worth your attention. Most of the time, it's not. So you let it pass and return to your work. People start noticing something different about you. You're calmer, more grounded, less reactive. You don't get drawn into drama. You don't engage in gossip. You don't waste energy defending yourself. And because you're not constantly talking, when you do speak, people listen. Your words carry weight because they're deliberate, they're thoughtful, they're backed by action, not just intention. You stop seeking validation because you're validating yourself through results. You're building things, you're completing things, you're moving forward, and the evidence is undeniable, not to others, to you. Your relationships improve, not because you're trying harder, but because you're present. When you're with someone, you're actually with them. You're not distracted. You're not checking your phone. You're not half listening while planning your response. You're there, fully. And people feel that. They feel seen, they feel valued, and they respond to it. Your goals become clearer because you're not diluting them with noise. You're not announcing them prematurely and losing momentum. You're working on them in silence, and when the time is right, the results speak for themselves. You reclaim your time. Hours that used to disappear into scrolling, reacting, and explaining are now yours. You use them to read, to think, to create, to rest, to grow. You feel more in control because you are more in control. Not of everything. Stoicism teaches you'll never control everything, but of the things that matter most, your mind, your actions, your responses. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." And now you understand what he meant. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. But this moment, right now, is yours. And when you focus on it fully, when you give it your complete attention, you stop living in anxiety and start living in flow. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start, who follows through, who doesn't need external pressure to do the right thing because internal alignment is enough. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're on your own path. You're not racing anyone. You're not performing for an audience. You're building the life you want, not the life others expect. And here's the beautiful part. This transformation doesn't take years. It starts the moment you make the choice. The moment you decide to focus on yourself and stay silent, something shifts inside you. You feel it immediately. A sense of calm, a sense of power, a sense of direction. And as you practice it daily, that feeling compounds. Day by day, week by week, you become more disciplined, more focused, more clear. The chaos doesn't disappear. The world is still noisy. People are still demanding. Distractions are still everywhere. But you're no longer at the mercy of them. You're no longer reactive. You're responsive. You're intentional. You're sovereign. This is the transformation the Stoics spoke of. Not a dramatic reinvention, but a quiet, profound shift in how you move through the world. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. You just live it. And that's when everything changes. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not when you've figured it all out. Right now. Because the habit that changes everything isn't waiting for you in the future. It's available to you in this moment. All you have to do is choose it. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice this habit. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. Don't announce your plans. Don't react impulsively. Don't seek validation. Just move quietly, intentionally, with your attention turned inward. Watch what happens. Watch how your clarity sharpens. Watch how your energy returns. Watch how your results improve. The Stoics didn't need perfect circumstances to master themselves, neither do you. You already have everything you need. The power is already inside you. You just have to stop giving it away. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. Let the work speak. And remember, the moment you decide to change is the moment everything begins to shift. That moment is now. Choose it. If you're ready to reclaim your focus and silence the noise, leave a comment below. I focus inward. And make sure to subscribe to the Stoic Mode and hit that notification bell. This is just the start of your transformation. Thank you for being here. Stay silent. Stay sovereign. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Every morning wasted adds up. Every excuse compounds, but so does every act of discipline. The little things you do daily shape the entire arc of your life. Consistency is powerful because it compounds silently. You may not see the results right away, and that's where most people quit. They give up too soon because they want instant success. But the truth is, mornings are not about instant results. They are about planting seeds. Day after day, water them, and in time, the harvest comes. Excuses, on the other hand, destroy you silently. They seem harmless in the moment. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm too tired today. But one excuse becomes two become 10, and suddenly years have passed. Excuses steal more dreams than failure ever will. So what's the solution? Build non-negotiables into your mornings. Small actions you commit to no matter what. Maybe it's 5 minutes of journaling. Maybe it's 10 push-ups. Maybe it's reading 1 page. It doesn't matter how small. It matters that you do it consistently. That's how you train your brain to choose action over excuses. Think of life like a ledger. Every day you either deposit discipline or debt. Discipline builds you. Debt drags you. Which one are you adding each morning? And here's the secret. Consistency creates confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove you can trust you. And when you trust yourself, nothing can shake you. Tomorrow morning, when your mind whispers excuses, answer with action. Even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, choose consistency. Repeat this affirmation with me and comment it to lock it in. I choose consistency over excuses. Every morning, I move forward. You've just walked through truths that took me years to understand. Life waits for nobody. If you don't take care of yourself, the world will move on. Regret is wasted energy. Learn from it and rise. If you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to build theirs. Protect your vision with silence. Filter the voices you listen to, and above all, practice consistency. Every morning is a chance to decide, will you waste it or will you use it? Will you drift with excuses or will you rise with discipline? The Stoics taught us that time is the one resource we can never get back. Once today is gone, it's gone forever. That's why mornings matter. That's why urgency matters. I can't make the choice for you. I can't walk your path. But I can remind you, you are not powerless. You are not stuck. Every sunrise is a second chance. You don't have to carry regret. You don't have to follow the wrong voices. And you don't have to build someone else's dream. You can choose differently, starting today. So when you wake tomorrow, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for life to slow down. Just rise, move, act. And as you move forward, hold this affirmation in your heart. I rise stronger every morning, and I will not waste the time life has given me. Write it in the comments. Speak it out loud and live it daily, because life waits for nobody, and neither should you. What made you feel that way? Instead of, what's your problem? Try, what are you really trying to say? Questions like that open space, not just in the conversation, but in the other person's mind. Aristotle believed that true wisdom lies in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. In arguments, that wisdom shows up in your ability to pause, to say, help me understand, not sarcastically, genuinely. Those words can take the heat out of almost any conflict. And here's the thing, when everyone else is reactive, the calmest person becomes the anchor. They don't just calm themselves, they calm the room. People look to them because composure is magnetic. Strength that doesn't shout is rare, and rare things lead. So next time you find yourself in a conflict, don't aim to win the argument. Aim to keep your integrity. Aim to steer the room, not by force, but by presence. That's how leaders move. That's how Stoics think. That's how real change starts. 13. Your body knows before you do. Sometimes your body knows the storm is coming before your mind does. You're sitting there trying to focus and suddenly your jaw is tight. Your chest feels heavy. Your breath shortens. And then, almost like clockwork, something small sets you off. But if we're being honest, it wasn't that one comment or that little delay. The trigger was just the last drop. The tension had been building long before, and your body tried to warn you. Modern psychology backs this up. Carl Jung once said, "The body is the unconscious mind." That tight chest, that knot in your stomach, those clenched fists, they're not random, they're messages, signals that something in your inner world is trying to get your attention. And most of us, we don't listen. We push it down, we distract ourselves, we stay busy. Until boom, one small thing turns into a full-blown explosion, and then we're left wondering, where did that come from? The Stoics understood this pattern even before we had terms like fight or flight. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them. But how can we adjust our view when we're already spiraling? That's where bodily awareness comes in. When you notice tension early, you get a chance to stop the spiral before it takes over. Socrates believed that the secret to change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Learning to tune into your body is one way to build that new. It means catching the signal before it becomes a scream. It means seeing the clenched jaw as a whisper, not a failure. Here's a practical way to start. Next time you feel that inner squeeze, pause. Don't react, just notice. Breathe in deeply through your nose, hold for a second, and exhale slowly. Then ask yourself, what am I really reacting to? Not what just happened, but what it's hitting inside you. Is it rejection? Is it fear? Is it an old wound getting poked? Plato said the body is the vessel of the soul, and if that's true, then learning to listen to your body is learning to understand your deeper self. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's how you become less reactive, more responsive, less chaotic, more composed. The world will keep testing you. People will keep saying things, doing things, forgetting things. But if you can stay tuned into your inner signals, if you can respond to your body like it's your teammate, not your enemy, you start moving through life with a kind of quiet strength that people feel without you saying a word. Your body is an early warning system. Don't ignore it. Respect it. Work with it. That's not just emotional intelligence. That's stoic resilience, built from the inside out. 14. Protect your attention like it's gold. Every day your attention is up for grabs, and not just from ads or notifications, but from people. People who want a reaction, people who push your buttons, test your patience, pull at your energy. Some do it with good intentions, others, not so much. The internet troll who leaves a snarky comment, that co-worker who thrives on drama, the ex who reappears just to see if they still have access. They all want something from you, even if it's just your emotional presence. But here's something the Stoics understood deeply. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Not every voice deserves your energy. And one of the most overlooked ways to protect that power, being selective about where you place your attention. Carl Jung once wrote, "What you resist persists," meaning the more you engage with things that drain you, out of anger, out of pride, out of habit, the more those things grow in your mind. That one negative comment turns into an inner dialogue. That petty coworker consumes your day. That message from your ex. It reopens wounds you were finally starting to heal, and you wonder why you feel exhausted, scattered, frustrated. But it's not just what's happening around you, it's what you're choosing to give your energy to. Socrates believed that the key to a meaningful life was not in knowing many things, but in knowing which things matter. That's the filter you need. Before you respond, before you even notice something, ask yourself, does this deserve me? That's a powerful shift. Instead of reacting to everything, you start curating your mental space like it's your most valuable property, because it is. Aristotle taught that the mark of an educated mind is to entertain a thought without accepting it. You can see the drama, hear the insult, witness the chaos, and still not take it personally. You can let it pass. You can scroll by, not out of indifference, but out of discipline. Because here's the truth, your attention is currency, and if you spend it on nonsense, you go broke where it actually matters, on peace, on clarity, on creativity, on joy. Every response you give to something that doesn't deserve you is energy you've taken away from what does. So protect it. Guard it like it's gold. Because it is. The more you master your attention, the more you master your life. You become less reactive, more focused, more intentional, and slowly, without even announcing it, you step into the kind of calm that people notice, but can't quite explain. You don't owe your presence to everyone who demands it, especially not the ones who haven't earned it. Let them scroll by, let them fade, and keep your eyes and your energy on the life you're building, not the noise trying to pull you away from it. That's stoic living, quiet, clear, unbothered. 15th gratitude, instant peace. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective can change everything. One thought, one moment of awareness, and suddenly the emotional storm loses its grip. That's the quiet power of gratitude. It's not flashy, it doesn't yell, but it has this almost magical ability to calm the chaos within. Now, think about this for a second. You can't be genuinely angry and genuinely grateful at the same time. Try it. Anger says, "This isn't fair." Gratitude says, "But I still have something." It's like trying to walk in two directions at once. You can't do both. And that's why gratitude is the ultimate reset button. The Stoics understood this in their own way. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor dealing with betrayal, war, and illness, wrote, "Don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, think of the blessings you do have and how much you'd miss them if they were gone." That's not just a nice idea, it's a strategy, especially when your emotions start running the show. Carl Jung pointed out that no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything's fine when it's not. It means acknowledging the darkness and still seeing light. It's the act of anchoring yourself in what's real, not just what's wrong. Plato taught that the soul becomes wise through reflection, and what is gratitude if not reflection in motion? It takes you out of the spinning story in your head and brings you back to the present, to what's still good, still true, still yours. And when you do that, even in the middle of a mess, You give your nervous system a break. You soften. You breathe again. So here's a practical challenge. Next time you feel that heat in your chest, that tension in your jaw, that urge to lash out, pause and name 3 things you're grateful for, right there in the moment. Not big things, just real things. Maybe it's the roof over your head. Maybe it's the friend who checks in. Maybe it's the fact that you have the self-awareness to even pause. Socrates believed that contentment was found not by adding more to life, but by subtracting false desires. Gratitude does exactly that. It strips away the should-haves and why-me's and gets you back to what's real and enough. And from that place, you respond better. You think clearer. You move with intention instead of impulse. Anger narrows your world. Gratitude opens it. Anger sees the problem. Gratitude sees the full picture. It doesn't fix everything, but it helps you see clearly enough to make a better next move. That's the cheat code. Not because it avoids reality, but because it roots you in a better one. So no, gratitude won't erase the problem, but it will give you the clarity to stop being consumed by it. And sometimes that clarity is all you need to turn the moment around. Quietly, powerfully, stoically. Your peace was never about the noise around you. It was always about the strength within you. And every time you choose clarity over chaos, presence over reaction, you're not just surviving, you're becoming. If this spoke to something real in you, there's more waiting. Tap into the next video on screen. It was made with the same heart, the same depth, and the same mission to help you rise, not just react. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. Your presence here means more than you know. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and when the world pulls, return to your center.